I oftentimes get people reaching out and asking questions about ToneX pedal and ToneX ONE, and oftentimes the questions are based off of things that I sometimes make the assumption everybody just knows. But the fact is, a lot of times these pedals can have features that don't jump out at somebody, and somebody new to using them might easily miss a very useful feature. Today, we're going to be focusing on 3 things that ToneX ONE has up its sleeve, pertaining mostly to what is actually a multi-function output jack, and also what we can do with this little USB-C jack. So without further ado, let's dive right in, and I hope you find this video helpful. So the first thing you'll notice a little different in today's video is I'm wearing headphones. I don't oftentimes have a reason to wear headphones in a video, but to showcase one of the features of ToneX ONE that a lot of folks may miss and be missing a really useful feature is the fact that our sole output on ToneX ONE, so we could plug any set of stereo headphones into there just as such, and now our headphones are becoming a really killer monitoring system. Sounds fantastic. So with the simple setup of a guitar, a single patch cable, a way to power the ToneX ONE pedal, whether that be plugging into our computer or from a USB power bank, and a set of headphones, we've got the perfect practice solution. So putting the headphones away for the rest of this video, there is another function that a lot of folks may not be aware of about our single sole output on our ToneX ONE pedal, and that is actually a stereo output. Now you might ask yourself, how can we use it as such? Well, one way is to get a little adapter like this, a Y adapter, which is basically a male stereo 1/4 inch plug, and this one is breaking out to 2 female mono 1/4 inch plugs. So I could take this, plug the stereo plug into the output of ToneX ONE, and then take 2 1/4 inch patch cables, plugging one in for the left side, one in for the right side, and now I have a way to come out of my ToneX ONE in stereo. What I'm doing for today's video is taking those 2 1/4 inch jacks, plugging them into my audio interface so I could record for you to hear, but we could also take those and plug those into our studio monitors so that we can use those as our monitoring setup. Now, how do we know for certain that we are actually coming out in stereo? So let's head over to ToneX Editor, and I have some tones up here from my really beautiful Imperial King Ultimate collection. This is a real favorite set of tones of mine. It's based off of my incredible Tone King Imperial MkII amp. Just loving those tones. So if I was just playing that tone model without anything added, such as modulation, delay, or reverb, there's really no stereo element to it, so we wouldn't really know if we were in stereo for certain. But what we could do is go to and affect something like maybe the tape delay here that I have on and set it to ping pong, so that if we're in stereo, we're gonna hear that delay bounce between the left and right sides. Just like I'm hearing now. So we can be certain then that we are actually getting a stereo output. If you like those tones, the link is below in the description of the video. One final thing that a lot of folks may not realize is that ToneX ONE, when plugged into a computer via the USB-C, not only receives power, but also can act as a very simple audio interface. Now, it's not going to be a full-featured audio interface, but it does allow us to do a few pretty cool and interesting little things. It only will work at 44.1 kilohertz, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But if we do go into our DAW like I have set up, and again, I have a track already recording just because I need to be able to record audio for this video, and I'm working in Cubase Pro 13. So first thing I would have to do, depending on the DAW you're using, this is going to change slightly, but I would come up here to my studio setup, and you can see here that I have my ASIO driver set up as ToneX ONE. So that's what's going to be communicating with Cubase. I also set up an audio connection on an input called Stereo 1, where I set ToneX ONE left and ToneX ONE right as the inputs. I then set up a track, having that stereo in feed into this. So now when I do this, you'll see up here on the screen where the cursor is. and I'm getting a little recording up here straight from the USB outs of ToneX ONE. So that's a really great feature. Now, something we have to keep in mind when utilizing ToneX ONE as an audio interface, if I come over to the editor and head up to global settings, over to the general global setup, I have this thing called direct monitoring. Now watch what happens. I have direct monitoring on. When I turn it off, there's no more sound here. So we have to head back over to Cubase. And if we want to work this way with direct monitoring off, I would have to enable the monitor button on the track I'm working on within Cubase. And there's my tone again. We would have to be careful in this case to set our buffers fairly low so we don't have unbearable latency. And that's really going to depend on your system, your CPU, and some other factors. But when we have it set up properly, it works quite nicely. So another good thing to realize is we can also set ToneX ONE as the audio interface for our entire computer system. And once that's done, it's going to allow us the ability to open up different apps, whether it be Spotify or YouTube, and jam along with whatever is playing on there. Now, the only thing about that is we do have to use an app that's going to have a separate volume control. So you'll see here I have one of my videos up here. Too terribly overdriven. And ToneX ONE is being used as the audio interface, but kind of pushes it slightly into the edge of breakup. I really want to capture this at various gain levels. I am going to need to adjust the volume here to match up with what I have on ToneX ONE pedal. But I could play along with whatever is going on there. If I had to adjust the volume on ToneX ONE itself, I could either come over to the editor and I could use my master volume up here in the corner, or I could long press on my Alt button for 6 seconds until it turns blue, and that would allow me to use the knob on ToneX ONE. And you can see I'm turning that and it is moving up here on the editor as my main volume. And I can also just balance that if I'm not in that global mode on ToneX ONE just with the model volume, which is the big encoder. And you'll see that on the editor. If I head over to the compressor, since I have it in post, the main volume knob is changing the gain, which will be my final output of that particular tone model. So those are the ways that I'm going to be able to come over here and balance the volume with whatever I'm playing along with on YouTube or whatever other app I'm using to try and play along with. All right, so there you have it. I hope that that was a helpful video. I know that those are things that can be easily missed. A lot of folks see the tiny little ToneX ONE pedal and think that there's very limited functionality. I mean, obviously there is more limited functionality than a full-featured audio interface or the bigger ToneX pedal, but there are some cool little tricks up its sleeve, such as the multi-purpose output and the fact we can use it for a very basic little USB audio interface. So again, I hope that that was helpful. I'm going to leave you today with the full-blown demo video for the tones you were hearing throughout the video today, utilized in a full mix and a full production so you can hear what these sound like. The link is below if you're so inclined you want to grab yourself a copy of those tone models. I hope you enjoy them as much as I enjoy playing them and as much as I enjoyed making them. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like the video, share it with anybody you think would get some use or enjoyment out of watching it, and also please subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content, and I'll be back really soon with some more. Thanks again so much for tuning in. Enjoy the music on the way out. Ciao for now.